Committing to the Dragon Breath farm down. If Togekiss does return, it will be switch locked and high Togekiss after getting wrecked by Charm all fucking week. Metagross is now absolutely feasting. So let's get into today's video. You have noticed in my Master League Premier Classic uploads, I've been moaning about getting wrecked by Charm, Double Charm, Fairies in general. Well, today I thought, fuck it, I'm going to power up Shadow Metagross. It performs amply worse than the regular. I think the regular's ranked like 9th. This one's ranked 33rd. However, its only job on the team is to stop me getting tilted by getting wrecked by Charm. And let me tell you, it is a great anti-Charmer. Spoiler alert, if you hate Fairies as much as me, you're going to see plenty get fucking wrecked. And in game 1, you might also notice we've got the first appearance of the season for the newly buffed Superpower Dragonite. We pick up a lead against Waterfall Gyarados. The opponent is staying in. We chip him with a Dragon Claw. This can only be a crunch. We are going to not shield it up. We can tank that, no problemo. Dragonite farms down. Let's see what the opponent comes in. They come in with Metagross. We switch out into the big thick boy, Shadow Snorlax. I save Dragonite, thinking they must be weak to Dragonite. In the back, and you're about to see a Fairy enter. Mr. Opponent, why would you not just charm down my Dragonite? I don't know. Clearly the opponent doesn't know either, but Snorlax is going to start applying shield pressure with the Body Slam spam. Body Slam gets Togekiss into around the 25% health range. The opponent is going to fire off the Ancient Power. They get the boost. Normally this is dreadful, but high Togekiss meet Metagross. The boost only gives us even more farm. Back out comes the Metagross, and I'm going straight for the Hail Mary. Does the opponent respect the Earthquake? They do not. Get wrecked. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. We see Snorlax in the lead all season. I have been this from the other side. Snorlax doesn't have the best matchup as Dragonite does win CMP. They go straight for the Body Slam. I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Superpower just before they get to Body Slam. Number 2, does the opponent want to shield it up? They do not. The first Superpower of the video lands. Get fucking wrecked, Snorlax. The opponent now comes in to their own Dragonite. We draw a shield with the debuff Dragon Claw. I am now going to come in to Metagross. We do have to be mindful of the Superpower as I have got shield advantage. I am going to commit one shield here. We shield up the Superpower. The opponent switches out into Waterfall Gary, and we answer with the big thick boy Shadow Snorlax. Body Slam spam is going to do pretty well in this matchup. The opponent has committed the final shield. I am going to shield absolutely nothing. You are going to see I do throw up pretty poor timing here. I imagine the opponent would try and fire immediately. They do not. We get off the next Body Slam. It looks like the opponent is going to try and Waterfall, farm us down. Best Buddy Snorlax says absolutely no chance. We take him out with a Body Slam. I'm spamming out Metagross, but the opponent concedes the match. GG's and thanks for playing. We have some deja vu, another Snorlax in the lead. I don't know who put out the Snorlax lead video, but it seems to be pretty common. I am going to fire off the Superpower just before they get to their back-to-back Body Slams. The opponent does shield it up. We switch out into Snorlax looking to catch the Body Slam. I am unsuccessful. They fire off the first Superpower. We don't respect it. The second Superpower isn't going to KO. The opponent dumps all of their energy and now come in to a Waterfall Gary. Snorlax is going to chip it with a Body Slam, and now this should be farm down range for my own Dragonite. You will notice the opponents really misaligned their switch timer, so this could be advantageous for myself. I am going to shield up a potential crunch. We do shield up the crunch, and I'm going to commit to the Dragon Breath farm down. Dragonite is now absolutely loaded. They bring in Togekiss immediately. Their switch timer isn't up, and Metagross is now absolutely feasting. I am going to fire off the Meteor Mash. This draws the final shield from the opponent. They now switch out into Snorlax, but Snorlax dumped all of its energy. Metagross says you can have a Meteor Mash as well. Back out comes Togekiss. They are going to fire off an Ancient Power, but fuck it. I've just powered this thing up. It cost me 400,000 Stardust, so we are going to shield up the resisted move. I was going to BM Superpower, but we're going to play nice today. Moving on to the next one. We see the pesky Charmer in the lead. We immediately save switch into Snorlax. The opponent answers with Waterfall Gary. I'm hoping to get shield advantage from this matchup. The opponent fires off an Aqua Tail. That's better for us. There's no chance of the defense drop. First Body Slam doesn't draw a shield, so I am going to fire off Body Slam. Number 2, hoping to get a shield from the opponent. Finally, the opponent shields. Are they going to commit to the Waterfall farm down? They are not. This opponent is much smarter than the last, realizing the big thick boy would make another Body Slam. We can now come in to Dragonite. They actually give up switch into Togekiss, and once again it's going to be high Togekiss and it's going to be by Togekiss. The opponent is going to reach the flamethrower. I am going to respect it. I'm going to leave with a boatload of energy. Metagross loaded is a pretty scary prospect. Let's see what the opponent comes back in with. If I see Gyarados, I'm just going to take it out immediately with a resisted Meteor Mash. I don't want to take any more waterfall damage. And in the back, the opponent has Excadrill. I'm going straight for the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? Yes, they do. My switch timer pops up, and it's going to be Superpower once again to take this game. The opponent is staying in, but they are going to realise, despite me being Shadow, Rock Slide isn't going to be enough. I've still got a shield. I shield up the BM Drill Run, but guess what, Mr. Opponent? You're still fucked. Superpower to the face. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, see Metagross in the lead, immediately safe switching into Snorlax. The opponent is staying in. We're getting off a whole boatload of lick damage. I am going to shield up the Meteor Mash because it does hurt, especially on Shadow Lax. They now switch out into a Dragon Breath Gary, but they've spotted me a huge energy lead. First Body Slam goes unshielded, so we are going to spam out Body Slam. Number 2, is the opponent going to return the shield? Yes, they are. The opponent is going to need to throw a crunch to take me out. If they go for an Aqua Tail, we might actually make another move. They do go for the Aqua Tail, and Snorlax, the big thick boy, once again putting in work. The opponent did have shield advantage. They've now committed all of their shields, so we're sitting in a pretty sweet spot. I come in to the Dragonite. This isn't an outrage, so I am going to shield it. It's just a crunch. We're going to commit to the Dragon Breath farm down. Let's see what the opponent has in the back. They come back in to their own Metagross and now switch out into a Dragon Tail Garchomp. The opponent doesn't even build up to the Earth Power, so we show no respect to the Sand Tomb. We are going to fire off the Meteor Mash, and I'm going to go for a sneaky Undercharge. The Undercharge is an absolute beauty. We are going to leave with the move, so the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see the Dragonite Mirror. I'm not going to win CMP as I've got a 14 attack, so I look to catch the Dragon Claw on my own Snorlax. The opponent is staying in. I'm going to fire the Body Slam off absolutely immediately, looking to CMP tie the opponent, but they're actually a lot smarter than I gave them credit for. They catch the charge move on Togekiss, but either way, this isn't a bad spot for me. I would just Body Slam spam it anyway. So Snorlax is going to fire off Body Slam. Number 2, Togekiss now deep into the red. They just about managed to farm us down. However, they're not at a flamethrower, so I can wait out my timer. One Bullet Punch takes them out. And in the back is a Waterfall Gyarados. You can see Shadow Metagross, not the bulkiest. A banker charge move, switch out into my own Dragonite. The opponent does shield it up. They now bring in their own Dragonite. I'm going to put faith in Metagross closing this match. We are going to look to Bullet Punch all the way down, and it's going to be a case of whether I can make 3 Meteor Mashes. I really wish I had Psychic here, as I don't really think you need Earthquake, especially if you're a Shadow. First Meteor Mash goes unshielded. I fire 1 Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash. Number 2, can we make the third? We're running out of HP, and unfortunately we die to Waterfalls. GG's to that opponent. Moving on to the next one. We see Excadrill in the lead. This used to be dreadful for Dragonite, however Superpower now has the potential to one-shot this little steel mole. We tank the rock side. The opponent looks to catch the Superpower on their own Dragonite, but they can catch the work of a Dragon Claw. The opponent shields it up, and I now bring in Metagross. Obviously Metagross doesn't want to see Excadrill. I am going to shield up a potential Superpower. We do correctly shield up the Superpower, and I'm going to look to CMP tie them on the next one. However, like an absolute noob, clearly I don't know who wins CMP. I imagined it was myself, and it wasn't. So feel free to roast me in the comment section, because deliberately CMP tying someone and losing is pretty much about the worst play you can do. But despite this, Metagross still gets off a Meteor Mash on the Gyarados. We get them deep into the yellow. The opponent builds up to the crunch, and we look to sack the Dragonite, trying to recover from that really poor mid-game play. The opponent didn't hit any bubbles. They get 1 extra mud shot on the Excadrill. I am just going to spam out Body Slam. After Body Slam, with Excadrill is now already down below 50% health. The opponent is almost at the back-to-back moves. I'm going to shield 1. I'm going to have to tank 1. And they now are energy dry, so I'm going to build up as much energy as I can. We are going to lose CMP, so I fire on the 4th mud shot. This Body Slam is going to take care of Excadrill, and we are going to look to outpace Gyarados to the Body Slam. And once again, the big thick boy doesn't disappoint. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle is the battle of the Dragonites. This opponent is on Dragon Tail though, but either way I am going to lose. CMP, I look to sack the Snorlax. The opponent holds their energy. We do CMP tie. Hopefully this is a superpower, which it is, which does mean this body slam should knock out from this range unless the opponent shields it up. They do shield it up. They're looking to Dragon Tail, farm us down. They actually snipe us with a Waterfall Gary, which is a really strange play because they are just going to switch lock themselves against my Dragon Breath user. I'm going to look to overfarm. Just before they get to the crunch, fire off the Dragon Claw. Does Dragon Claw knock out from this range? Who knows? Because the opponent shields it up. But we've got another one. Does this second one knock out? It does not. I'm going to just sack my Dragonite and we're going to put 2 shields on Shadow Metagross. Does anything beat a 2-shielded Metagross in this meta? I actually don't know because I've never used it, but we're about to find out. I'm now even more confused than I was before as the opponent brings in the Togekiss. They build up some energy, switch out into the Dragonite. They go for a Dragon Claw bait, but either way, we are just going to Bullet Punch, farm them down, and it's time to Earthquake the Togekiss. But the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see Florges in the lead, immediate save switch into Snorlax, and we are hard punished by a Shadow Machamp. I'm normally the Shadow Machamp beating up on Snorlaxes, so it's a little bit of a taste of my own medicine. We do tank the cross chop, fire off the Superpower. Superpower isn't enough to knock out, but it does mean they aren't going to reach a charge move when I come back in with my Dragonite. However, even after waiting out my switch time, I am going to be switch locked. You can see I'm tapping on the Metagross. I really want to get out of this matchup. The opponent throws the Moonblast. We're going to put 2 shields onto Metagross and they had Excadrill, so I immediately just top left. That is an RPS loss. Moving on to the next one. Speaking of the little steel mole, this time we see it in the lead. The opponent is going to go for a Rock Slide. We don't shield the first one up. I am going to go straight for the Superpower. I've never seen anyone not shield, but fuck it. I'm going for the kill shot. The opponent, as expected, does shield, and they are going to fire off a charge move before I can get to Superpower number 2. I now come in to Snorlax, and the opponent now chooses to come in to the mirror, so I'm going to look to throw a Superpower. Superpower is going to land for decent damage. I now bring in Metagross. Metagross is taking super effective from Lick. However, we don't really want to face Excadrill. I am going to shield up 1 Superpower, and I'm now going to look to Bullet Punch, farm it down. The opponent makes 1 more Superpower, but this debuffed one isn't going to knock out. If the opponent does now come in to the little steel mole, they're already at half health, so I'm just going to spam out Meteor Mash after Meteor Mash. The opponent shields up the first, but guess what, Mr. Opponent? We've got number 2. Resisted Meteor Mash, absolutely nukes Excadrill, and in the back, they have a Togekiss. This game is absolutely over. The big thick boy wins this in even shielding, so up 1 shield, the opponent concedes. Moving on to the next one. We see Snorlax once again in the lead. The opponent is probably looking to CMP tie me to a Superpower. I am really patient. I don't throw my energy. They're at the back-to-back body slam, so I actually look to catch the second body slam on my own Snorlax. The opponent is staying in, and as you've thrown 2 body slams, I'm going to go straight for the Hail Mary. The opponent's probably thinking there's no chance he Superpowers off the bat. Well, surprise, motherfucker, eat Superpower. The opponent now comes in to Excadrill. Surely they're thinking he isn't going to Superpower again. Well, guess what? We are going to Superpower again. The opponent doesn't respect it, even debuff. That did huge damage. The opponent is going to now take out Snorlax. Snorlax pretty much carrying the team on its back. They're not at the back-to-back move, so I'm just going to come in and fire off a Dragon Claw. Immediately, the opponent lets it go, and in the back is a Metagross. I've got no idea why the opponent hasn't top left. I can just spam out Meteor Mash after Meteor Mash. The opponent probably is going to do the same, but in the 2 shields, we're going to get it low enough that Dragonite can close this game. The opponent probably has 2 win cons at this stage. I either lag out or have a heart attack and die mid-battle. But as I'm making this video, you can see I'm still fit and well. I didn't have the heart attack. I am going to commit my final shield here. I'm going to get the opponent's final shield with the Meteor Mash. I have seen my switch timer has popped up, so I am going to look to switch out into Dragonite to snipe. But unfortunately, the opponent was spamming out the charge move. They actually hit no bubbles. We've got the move locked and loaded, and despite the opponent drawing it out, we still win the battle. Moving on to the next one. We see Gyarados in the lead. We need to check its fast move, but the opponent switched out immediately, so we're not actually going to find out. The opponent comes in to a purified Snorlax. I wonder if they're running return. They just fire off a body slam. I am going to go straight for the Superpower. Does the opponent respect the Superpower? They do not. Down goes Snorlax, and you can see it is a Waterfall Gary. So I'm just going to stay in here as I don't want to switch lock myself. We are going to put in a huge amount of work, just the Dragon Breaths, even though it's debuffed, got it down to around half health, we can now come in to the big thick boy. We tank the crunch, no problem at all, and it's Togekiss in the back, and that is a quick top left. Moving on to the next one. This time we see the Charmer in the lead. We switch out into Snorlax. It looks like the opponent is having some lag. However, no respect to anyone running Togekiss. I'm not going to stop and wait. I'm just kidding. I normally do wait, but fuck Charm. So they come in to their own Snorlax. We're going to fire off 2 body slams, put them into a range where a superpower will knock out. We make the superpower on a CMP type. Is the opponent going to give me a shield? No, they're not. Down goes Snorlax. They come back in to Togekiss. So we can now realign our Pokemon. We're going to put Metagross on this Charmer, but Snorlax isn't done. Body slam, even debuff gets them down into the red. I bring in Metagross. The opponent brings in the Waterfall Gary, and that's another concede. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. We see another Dragonite mirror, so I am going to look to catch the Dragon Claw on Snorlax. Are we successful? Yes, we are, so stay in school, kids. Learn to count. Actually, to be honest, they reach the charge moves at the same pace, so if you're wondering how I keep catching that charge move, when I get the energy for a Dragon Claw, that is when Snorlax gets the body slam. So they now enter the Snorlax mirror. However, not just any Snorlax mirror, it's 2 shadows. You love to see it. The opponent goes for a body slam, and I'm going to go for the superpower. Does the opponent respect the damage? Yes, they do. They're still going to have to throw a charge move as they can't lick me down. So we are just going to allow our own Snorlax to go down. Body slam takes us out. I am going to enter back with my own Dragonite, and as we are up shields, I am going to look to shield once and over farm. The opponent is going to fire a body slam. The opponent realises that I'm looking to get off the back-to-back moves. They now bring in their own Dragonite. I go straight for the Dragon Claw. They don't shield it up. The opponent has Metagross in the back, so it's now the very dicey Metagross mirror. I am going to call the bait here. Let's see if the opponent has the balls to go straight for the Earthquake. They do not, but guess what, Mr. Opponent? No bait on this channel. I go straight for the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect it? They do not. Down they go. Back out comes Shadow Snorlax. We make the Meteor Mash. This game is still going to be close. Snorlax is going to lick us down, but we've still got that shield. Can we make the Dragon Claw? We have got enough HP by the looks of it, so I'm going to shield up the body slam. And Dragonite is going to make the Dragon Claw, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. I'm sure a lot of you have played the Galarian Stunfisk mirror, where everyone likes to go for a bait, but fuck that. I like to go straight for the Hail Mary. Moving on to the next one, we see Metagross in the lead. I switch out into Snorlax. The opponent answers with Dragonite. Let's see if they go straight for the superpower. They actually let me get off another body slam, so even if they do go for superpower, got no intentions of shielding this up, the opponent does give me a shield. I believe we will survive a Dragon Claw from this range, but the opponent smartly goes for the superpower. They have overfarmed, so they're going to have residual energy good to go. This is debuff, so hopefully it doesn't do too much damage. Ouch, Shadow Dragonite, not the bulkiest. I tank the charge move, switch out into Metagross, and they've got a Shadow Gary in the back. Gyarados, you should have respected the resisted Meteor Mash. The opponent's probably thinking, what the heck? Water resist still. Well, apparently you're not that bulky. We are going to shield up absolutely everything here. The opponent makes one more charge move. I am going to look to resisted Bullet Punch, farm it down. If Metagross does return, I am going to throw a Earthquake, but the opponent comes back in to the Dragonite, so I imagine they're already absolutely shitting their pants. So I throw the bait, they shield it up, and we are going to get to the Earthquake and take this game. Normally I wouldn't bait, but it looks like the opponent was panicking, so I thought they're going to shield. So the bait was a good one. Moving on to the next battle, we see Shadow Snorlax versus Shadow Dragonite. I'm not going to shield up the body slam, but it is going to do a lot of damage. Holy crap, that did a lot more than I was expecting. We're going to go straight for the superpower. Is the opponent going to shield? Yes, they are. So really good shield from the opponent, and they actually fire off one Dragon Breath before I get to the Dragon Claw. Really well played opening matchup from the opponent. Respect where respect is due. As I am up shields, I am going to come in to Metagross because the Snorlax mirror is really boring and this energy always is going to go somewhere. They come in to a Dragon Breath Gyarados. We've already seen that resisted Meteor Mash from a Shadow does do big damage. They tank it. We bring in Snorlax. They switch out into Florges. Obviously Florges doesn't want to see Metagross. This game is going to be a close one. I imagine the opponent isn't going to shield anything, and likewise I'm also going to shield nothing. Body slam spam is pretty spammy. However, Moonblast does really hit a lot harder. The opponent is going to have to Moonblast to take us out. The opponent smartly goes for the Moonblast. We get in 2 more bullet punches back out. Comes Gyarados. We are going to fire off the next Meteor Mash. This is definitely going to draw the final shield from the opponent. They're at a Aqua Town. It's now going to be a race. It's going to be Metagross versus Gyarados. Can we get there? Yes, we can. And Metagross seals the deal. And that's going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. So those were the battles. It was my first time using Shadow Metagross, and despite its low ranking, I think it's 33rd, it did perform really well. It's also my first time using Superpower Dragonite, and I can say it's hugely improved. I think I went 20 and 5 overall with this team, so it's really strong. It did boost my elo. I think I'm now at around 2650. So who knows? I might pull my socks up and make a legend push sometime next week. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one.